Shortly after 8 o'clock on Sunday evening, October 30th, 1938, many Americans became anxious or even panic-stricken while listening to a live one-hour radio play realistically depicting a fictional Martian landing at a farm in the tiny hamlet of Grover's Mill, New Jersey. The broadcast could be heard in all regions of the continental United States, but those living in the immediate vicinity of the bogus invasion appeared to have been the most frightened. The play included references to real places, buildings, highways, and streets. The broadcast also contained prestigious speakers, convincing sound effects, and realistic special bulletins.
Some millennia ago, man decided that he wished to have certain animals living close to him. Whereas, he had earlier only hunted animals for food, he realized that it was possible to keep animals close at hand for a ready supply of meat. Hence animals came to be domesticated. Probably at about the same time, man may have discovered that it was possible and fun to keep certain animals as pets. Thus became the close friendship between men and certain animals like cats and dogs, which came to be called pets. It is easy to see that these animals, which were originally in the wild and independent, came to be partially dependent on their masters. In time, through long association, the pet animals became wholly dependent on their masters. So much so that it is now inconceivable that animals kept as pets can go back to the wild. In other words, they need us to survive.
It is difficult to think of another technology, apart from nuclear technology, that has caused as much debate or concern as that of genetic engineering and its application to food. When considering genetic engineering, it should be remembered that almost every living thing that human beings exploit has been genetically modified in a major way. The crops we use for food, the animals we eat, and the plants in our gardens, are radically different from those that existed in the so-called natural state. Thousands of years of selective breeding have improved the yields of crops, the milk production of cows, the quantity of meat of cattle, and the sizes and colors of our flowers. Without this program of genetic modification, modern life as we know it would be impossible.
Today, toys may be divided into two groups: those that are not individually handmade on a small scale and those that are mass-produced by mechanical means. Highly priced electronic toys are predominantly limited to affluent societies. In less wealthy societies, many toys are still made by traditional methods for personal use and for sale, though many of these ephemeral folk toys are now being replaced by similar but more crudely made mass-produced plastic ones. However, despite the global nature of today's toy industry, many examples of folk toys produced by labor-intensive means are still available. In fact, the rising demand for more individualistic, handmade goods has led to the organized export of folk toys to Western countries.
Figures published recently strongly suggest that office workers are happier and more positive about work, if they know they can spend some part of their day on personal, recreational activities that they enjoy. 7 out of 10 clerical workers admit to emailing friends, surfing the internet, or playing online computer games during working hours. Most of them claim that they are better motivated, and their time is more productive, because of these breaks in routine. It would therefore seem like good business sense for managers to adopt a policy of tolerance towards this practice. Some firms that have gone the other way, and forbidden personal use of computers during office hours, have felt the effects of increased worker apathy and resentment.
There is no shortage of statistics available for those who like to tell us that fear of flying is irrational. For instance, it is a fact that the chance of being involved in a car accident is hundreds of times greater than the chance being involved in a plane crash. You only have to ride in a taxi from the center of places like Barcelona or Istanbul to the airport to experience for yourself how very dangerous it can be to travel quickly even with four wheels on the ground. Yet there are many people, perhaps as many as a fifth of the population, whose terror really begins when they get out of the taxi and onto the plane.
School discipline is the system of rules, punishments and behavioral strategies appropriate to the regulation of children and the maintenance of order in schools. The aim of school discipline is, ostensibly, to create a safe and conducive learning environment in the classroom. In a classroom where a teacher is unable to maintain order and discipline, the climate for learning is diminished. A disciplined student is in compliance with the school rules and codes of conduct. These rules may, for example, define the expected standards of clothing, timekeeping, social behavior, and work ethic.
Domestication of birds is a sign of man's cruelty. The cruel man traps many of the species and confines them to small rickety nests, calling them pets. Singing birds are kept in darkness and they become disoriented. Cockfighting is big business in some countries, although it is illegal. The feathers of the swan are plucked several times a year to provide ornamental feathers. Apart from the pain caused while the feathers are plucked, they will have difficulty in controlling their body temperature. Chickens raised in battery cages are debeaked to prevent pecking at the feathers of other chickens. Although there is increasing outrage at man's cruel treatment of birds, the exploitative use of birds continues.
The modern world thrives on advertisements. From every side they seem to confront one's sensibilities and use very kind of medium. Nothing sells like advertisements. Advertising and copywriting are profitable business undertakings. Corporate industries spend a great deal of their money on advertisements. Several decades ago, advertising was done through newspapers, billboards, posters and the likes. Before that it was also done by the hawker or the vendor. But now the use of electronic media has made it well nigh impossible to escape the assault on one's mind by advertisements.